Hey, good evening, everybody. It is 8:21 p.m. on February the 22nd, 2019. Let's take care of the housekeeping first. If you want to reach us at Once Wayward Brethren, you can reach us at area code 414. The number is 982-5604. Again, that's area code 414. The number is 982-5604. If for any reason there's connectivity issues, this particular taping will be placed out on the Once Wayward Brethren Facebook page and the Once Wayward YouTube page. If you go out on the Once Wayward Brethren Facebook page, it'd be greatly appreciated if you would actually like, follow, and if you hear something here that you absolutely want to share to your timelines, that would be greatly appreciated as well. Also, on the Once Wayward Facebook page, what you'll need to do is just to go out, in order to find it, is just type in the word Once Wayward. When you do that, you'll have an opportunity to go out there and to subscribe, and I would appreciate it too if you would subscribe on the Facebook page as well. That also would be greatly appreciated. Well, what I'd like to do is to go back to where we started back in on the 11th of February, where was actually looking at passage from the book of Ephesians, the 5th chapter, the 16th verse, where it says, redeeming the times because the days are evil. And as a subtopic of that, I'd like to talk about the word remember, and I'd like to talk about just remembering. Thing about it is that when I started putting this thing together, so many months ago, we were at the in the middle of the Christmas season, and of course, for most of us, with Christmas, we also begin that preparation for counting down on a new calendar year. And it's during that time that we take the time, most of the time, to reflect on what has happened during the course of that calendar year. We go from Christmas into that week in between, where we start thinking about all of the things that we've done. We think about the words that we possibly should not have said, or some of the things that we did. A lot of us, though, we look at it as the time where we are talking about a lot of the good stuff that happens. But we also have to remember that there are those folks that during that time of the year don't seem to be able to get beyond the bad things that have happened, and seem to dwell on those things in their lives that just don't seem right. And so the thing about it is that it's no wonder that the Christmas time or that time at the end of the year is one of the leading times for people to commit suicide. But the thing about it is that for those of us that have the ability to look at our lives objectively, rather than looking at just narrowing in on specific ideas, specific things, we get an opportunity to grow. It's because of the fact that we remember that we're growing every day, that we're not the same people that we were 15 minutes ago, let alone the same person we were at the beginning of the previous year. So the thing is that sometimes we try to hold on to things that don't necessarily make sense, and they keep us from growing. We get to that place where we are constantly wondering and fighting with ourselves and fighting with other people in order to be heard and to be understood. And we are in our country at this particular point at the crossroads of what very well could actually begin to be a real dialogue on race relations in this country. Thing about it is that the truth of it is that the God that created the heavens and the earth was not necessarily concerned about color, because of the fact is that he's made us all different hues. And as I've said before, the thing about that is that we are all that we are all of one race, the human race. Now, to be honest about it, there have been some things that have happened over the course and passage of time that have been done and that are evil by no stretch of the imagination at all. It doesn't take an awful lot to figure out that there's this evil that has permeated our history. The history of the human race is dotted with all kinds of things where people have done things against each other. Matter of fact, if you have don't have to go any further than the 4th chapter of the book of Genesis to find out that Cain killed Abel in a fit of jealousy. So the thing about it is that from recorded time, in recorded time and biblical time, we have always had issues with each other. That's why that's why we ought not be alarmed that there's black on black crime or white on white crime or Asian on Asian crime or whichever way you want to look at it, because that thing is that very simply, since sin entered this world, that what has gone on and what has transpired is that we have always been at odds with one another. The Bible says very simply that we ought to love one another. But the thing is that too many times we equate what it means to love somebody to whether or not we like them or not. And liking somebody is very equivalent to me liking the color purple. Today I like the color purple. Tomorrow I might like yellow. But it's just a passing fancy. Love is deeper than that. Love says that here it is, that there are things and qualities in you that make that get next to me, that help me to grow, that make me better, that I understand. And it doesn't mean that I have to like you all of the time. I know a lot of married couples that have been married for long times, and for awfully long times. And the thing about it is that what happens with them is that there are days that they are absolutely in love with each other, but there are other days when they don't like what the other person has done. But the wonderful thing about being able and being in relationship with people is that you have to learn how to communicate. And the problem is that when we are communicating, it doesn't, because I am giving you my point of view and because I'm saying to you what it is that's on my mind, what's in my heart, what's in my spirit, it does not say that you're supposed to just jump all over it and get angry because I said it. The thing is that how do we get to know one another if we can't dialogue with each other? That doesn't just go across racial lines. That goes with brothers and sisters talking to each other. And I'm talking biological brothers and sisters. So the thing is that we have to understand, we have to remember that at the as we go through each and every day, that each day is new. That means that I don't have to hold on to the stuff that happened yesterday. I ought to be able to let it go. But problem is that a lot of us are unable to let stuff go because of the simple fact that we feel slighted. We feel less than adequate. We feel like we've been embarrassed. And in this day and time where everything is based on being politically correct, truth of it is that we've gotten away from the fact that there is such a thing as absolute truth. We no longer remember that truth is absolute. We now bandy truth about as if that I have my own truth. Well, yes, there are things that are true for me, but that doesn't necessarily mean that it is the truth. It means that very simply that there are things that I believe that I believe to be true. It doesn't necessarily make them accurate. It doesn't necessarily make them right. And it does not give me the right to foist that stuff off on you. What I have to do is be able to say that this is what I believe. This is where I am. This is who I am. And then be able to, by that same token, be able to hear you when you say, this is who I am. This is what I am. This is what I believe. The bottom line is that the reason why we are in such dire straits today is because no one is listening. Everybody is talking. And the thing is that if everybody is talking and we're all talking at the same time, it's impossible for us to hear each other. So when we're talking about remembering the times, because the days are evil and have been evil for an awfully long time. All we need to do, if we really wanted to understand all of this, is to just say, and let's just put it out there, that what happened in this country from 1609, 1619 up until the very present has been absolutely brutally ugly. Everybody's trying to, now we've gotten to that place where, like a bunch of male lions or whatever, we're trying to mark territory. And it's not any territory, there's not any territory to be marked, because what we are marking is we are marking each other, we are marking our children, and what we are doing is we are hurting any future generations that come, all of the future generations that are coming along. I'm getting to this thing where I'm actually wondering why it is that we keep doing the things that we're doing, knowing that a lot of the stuff that we've done has been harmful and it cannot be undone. Words that can't be taken back. And so the thing is that none of us knows, when we're remembering the time, none of us knows how much time we actually have. I don't know. I could no sooner than in this broadcast or during this broadcast, I could fall over dead right here in front of all of you because of the fact that I don't have that clock. I'm not the one that's keeping my clock. I'm not the one that's keeping your clock. So the thing is that what we have to do is we have to remember that, as the Bible says, that we ought to love one another. Now, I'm going to say this before I wrap this one up tonight. We've gotten to the place now where and I'm addressing this primarily to my African American brothers and sisters. We have gotten to the place where we call the Bible the book of the oppressor. My personal opinion, not anybody else's, my personal opinion is that the Bible itself is not a book of oppression. The oppression came from the fact that our ancestors were not allowed to read this book for themselves, that our ancestors were not able to get to that place where they could understand what it is that was where they had the ability to decipher for themselves what it is that the book that we call the Bible was saying. See, the thing is that the Bible actually, when we look at it and we look over the history of this country, up and when we as a nation actually believed what the principles that were in the Bible and actually lived according to the principles of the Bible, we understood that we were actually, it set out for us, and it was the guiding template for how we lived our lives in this country, with the exception, of course, now let me get this, now I'm going to hurt some feelings, where it was misapplied. And I do need to say this because of the fact that everybody needs to understand this, is that very simply what happened as a part of the past was the fact that the Bible was misapplied by European Americans in order to subjugate all of the people, the original peoples here, as well as those that were brought here on slave ships. I need to make sure that you understand that the Bible, the way that it is written, the Bible, the way that it is laid out, in no way, shape, or form condones the servitude, the forced servitude that was put in as far as slavery is concerned. And I think that I'm right in saying this during this time, since it's still Black History Month. So the thing is that the problem with what goes on, and it's still a problem, even though now everyone who wants to take the opportunity to learn to read has an opportunity to do that. The thing about it is that when we read the Bible, we read it and we misapply it, or we don't read it at all, or we cherry pick it, and then we don't believe the stuff that even though we don't believe the stuff that we cherry picked out of it, we try to apply it to other people. We ignore it sometimes, and we don't use it as a filter for our dealings with each other or with ourselves. So the problem that we have today is that because of that, we don't examine it for the truth that is in it. We want to take it and pick it apart. But the thing is that because of that, because of the fact that this country is no longer guided by the principles that were outlined in the Bible, we now have the issues that we have. We have this thing where everybody, where this racial hatred and tension and all of this other stuff that has nothing at all to do with the Bible is coming out. And I'm going to say this to illustrate my point, and then I'm going to close for tonight. We all are very familiar with the story of the Good Samaritan. The story of the Good Samaritan was the fact that Jesus is a story that Jesus told, and that story that he told very simply was that there was a man that was beat up on the side of the road, and a priest came by a good Jewish priest, somebody from the household of Aaron. And so what ended up happening with that is that when he saw and spotted the man on the road, he crossed over to the other side and kept on walking by. Now, if I was going to speculate, it was because of the fact that he was in his priestly robes and he didn't want to get himself dirty. Okay, then Jesus said that a Levite came through. Levite, also another member of the house of Aaron, and walked by and went over to the other side. Now, finally, a Samaritan came by. Now, this Samaritan, who was, for historical purposes, was both part Jew and part whoever or whatever the predominant culture was in that particular area, that particular region of Israel. But he was let's just put it like it is. He was a half-breed. And saying that he was the one that went, and not only that though, but the Jews actually hated the Samaritans and vice versa. But yet it was this man who was hated and despised by the Jews went up to this man and picked him up, put him on his donkey, and then took him to the closest place where he could get treated and have refuge, and paid for it, because of the simple fact that it was all about love. It was about the fact that it was one human being dealing with another human being. So when we start talking about these things that need to happen, we need to forget about the fact that this person is this color, or this person is that color, or this person is Republican, or this person is Democrat, or this person is gay, or this person is straight. Whatever it happens to be, what we need to understand is that each and every one of us needs to be governed by the principles that were outlined in the Bible. And as far as it goes, if we treat each other with fairness, with kindness, with love and concern and compassion, this world would be a whole lot better place. And we wouldn't have to be talking, I wouldn't have to be talking to you all today from the topic, remember the times, because the days are evil. What I'm asking each and every one of you to do is to remember how it is that you've been treated. And then remember all of the ways that you could have done something, that you could do something better from the times that you were mistreated, and how maybe you could treat somebody just a little bit better than you've ever been treated. And when you do that, the things that you are able to do, the things that are able to happen in this world, because of the fact that we love one another, we have an opportunity to grow. We have an opportunity to be what it is that God has called us to be. We have an opportunity to bring people along and get them closer. Now, again, tonight, I just wanted to talk about remember. I have a couple of other thoughts about remember, but I'm going to save those for the next time so I can segue into the rest of everything that needs to go on. I'm so glad that each and every one of you joined us tonight. And again, if you want to, if you haven't caught all of it and you came on late, this will be reposted a little bit later on the Once Wayward Brethren Facebook page. Again, we ask that you follow, share, and like it. And then also it will also be out on the Once Wayward YouTube page. And we're just asking that you subscribe and then let your friends know that this stuff is out here. Again, I don't have all of the answers, but I do know what it is that I do understand what it is that God is saying to me. And because of the fact that I know he's saying it to me and it is actually ingrained in my spirit, it's free for me to share it with you. God bless and keep you, and we'll talk to you later.